We learned very quickly about the disconnect and what keeps the people connected in the American Bully, and I got to see firsthand where I believe I could add the most value. It just so happened that year the ABKC Nationals was coming to Dallas, Texas. When I'm researching and developing my process, my method, I'm saying, where can I add the most value? Consistently, it always came back to health. We were interviewing people, we were clearly talking about dog product, we were learning about the dog side of things, aka supplements and treats and all this stuff that I had no clue about. So anytime I take my camera with me somewhere to help a company, it's because I also want to learn as much as I can while taking care of the dogs. We ended up going to Nationals, but before that, get this. I sniffed out a dog named Dooley. See, problems are beginning to compound and add up. I end up solving some problems, but creating more problems than I probably can afford to, if I'm being honest. And I turn around and I look and I go, okay, what's the next problem I can create? I'm working for a dog company here in Texas and not knowing they were here in Texas. No bad blood there. We were working with X-Dog heavy at the time. And I just went out there to get some vests, and you know, he said, yo, give him some vests. At the times, one of the other employees were training with Stan quite a bit. Got some vests, end up leveraging my skills, doing some videos for him. And it just so happened that year, the ABKC Nationals was coming to Dallas, Texas. And in that, we had started a podcast called True Beasts. We were interviewing people, we were clearly talking about dog product, we were learning about the dog side of things, aka supplements and treats and all this stuff that I had no clue about. So anytime I take my camera with me somewhere to help a company, it's because I also want to learn as much as I can while taking care of the dogs. So you're watching this progress take place, and shout out to Stan, because we began to do more work in more arenas. So hey, working with the police officers, working inside of all kinds of fun places and junkyards, and taking the dogs on adventures, to say the least, to see how far we could push them. And my goodness, it was a fun time. So I'm still learning and getting programming my mind and prepping myself to be a part of and change the American Bully. And we ended up going to Nationals. But before that, get this. I sniffed out a dog named Dooley. And I still have the commercials to this day. And this was during my Frenchie bid, where I was teaching or I was helping my buddy Whelp. And I remember jumping on the phone with Fred. Zeke did an interview on the American Bully with Fred Duran. I found Fred on Instagram and DM'd him. Him and I spoke for almost 3 to 4 hours. And I said, dude, your dog's gorgeous. I got to come out and talk to you as well. And he said, if you get your ticket, I'll put you up. I buy my ticket, and I was talking to Fred in my buddy Rich's garage for like 3 hours, just walking around. You know how you be antsy, and you know, you get on the phone and you like this, you walking around in circles for like 2 to 3 hours. Oh man, that's crazy. Man, so the dog thing, it's just, I'm never gonna forget talking to Fred for like literally 3 hours. And by the time we concluded, I was like, I think I can get this company, X-Dog, to do some sponsorship with you, or at least do some videos, man. I bought my flight. Fred paid for the hotel, went out there, shot some amazing commercials with Dooley. He was a tough dog. It was the only dog that nobody had seen who had beat Blue at the time almost 4 out of 5 times. Dog came out of nowhere. And Fred's story is even more fun because he's just like, well, shit, they got a show here. Let's see if we can do this. Let's see. And Dooley just kept winning. Dog's amazing. Hence, ABKC Nationals. So now, I go get my press pass. X-Dog has a booth. We're in there. in the ring. Marcus has never been to a dog show before. We're in the ring, shooting the Nationals. Shout out to our guy David, because we shot some stuff, I believe, with Blue before. I can't remember where. But if I did or didn't, I think he liked the videos I was doing and then just reached out and said, Trev, how much would it cost? I gave him a price. He paid the price. We did a ton of podcasts that day, and even more importantly, meaning during the Nationals, I was able to shoot some sick shots of Blue winning the ABKC Nationals in like 2021, 2022, whichever it was. Hence, I've been talking to a guy named Aaron Sims online about dogs for almost a couple years. And I said, you know what we gotta do? We gotta reach out to everybody and see if we can bring them together. Ruben, my man. Ron Papa Pitt. Fred Duran. Aaron. The first time I meet Aaron, we're getting off a plane, and this is after Nationals. So Blue wins Nationals, we killed that thing there, and I say, dude, I need to go and see what dogs are doing on the West Coast. The West Coast, let's just be clear, they got the best bullies. We ain't gonna sugarcoat it. They got some of the best bullies. They always have had some of the best dogs, in my opinion. Just my opinion. So I say, man, I want to do a 10-day journey out there. Boom. We do a 10-day journey, 200 miles a day almost. Going to see dogs, connecting with old bully people, San Francisco Bay Area, hitting the bridge, shooting that stuff, shooting Fortuna, going to see Uncle Carl. That was a good time. And we shot a little small documentary on engines with him. That's my guy. And it was the first time we met Aaron Sims. And then we turned around, finished our bid back in basically Mexicali or something like that, where Aaron lives. But we was able to talk to Kira, who had never done a podcast before. Shout out to John Surtees and Kira. They were kind enough to come and communicate. We was at David's house, shooting some new things with Blue, and even did a podcast with him literally in his garage. And then some other people had reached out, and we shot them along the way too. Just like, hey, we're doing a run up the coast, $200. We got off the plane and went to Vegas and met James Feltus and those guys and shot that show with Fred and Dooley. And I could tell you, I said, hey, Feltus, they said you're important. He was like, yeah. I mean, I've been in the bully thing for years, man. I said, let's go talk real quick then. Had the podcast thing set up. When I say I put people on the spot, I put them on the spot. We learned very quickly about the disconnect and what keeps the people connected in the American bully. And I got to see firsthand where I believe I could add the most value. So that's called R&D. When I'm researching and developing my process, my method, I'm saying, where can I add the most value? Consistently, it always came back to health. So no matter what's going on, breeding problems, getting pregnant problems, semen problems, skin problems, heart problems, overheating problems, training problems. There are a lot of problems. Great businesses either solve a problem or lower costs. We weren't going to lower any costs because the cost on medical care for pets is going up. But we could try our best to prevent and solve before it becomes an issue. Shout out to everyone who stopped by, shook hands, allowed us to come into their homes and see their dogs, learn from their programs. Ron Papa Pitt for barbecuing, inviting us into his backyard and doing some podcasts there, going live. All these little things that gave me more perspective on where I could be most conducive to what I believe needed to change, which means I just needed to see how big a problem we're dealing with. And everybody was willing to share. Come back, boom. Now it's time to breed our first breeding.
We also acquired Gia.
We left with Gia during that time. That's another thing.
We left Cali with Gia.
Aaron had just did he had finally, after 3 or 4 years, got Fortuna pregnant with Blue, and we left with Gia. See what I'm saying, guys? I forget how much. So now, you seen these problems. Now I got a whole nother system. I'm just adding more problems to the pot. I'm like this. I really like Fortuna. I think she's special. I'd love to have a daughter off of Fortuna. As I just told you before, I'm 2 for 7. Let me see what we got. Ooh, 1:30. Well, I guess we could save the next for the next part. Until next time.